hunting,
fishing,
cooking,
camping,
conservation,
travel,
gardening,
photography, family.
family.
Family. This is the Outdoor Rules Podcast. Hi, everybody. It's Mike here. Welcome to the podcast. We're going to do something just a little bit different today. We're actually going to bring you two stories, both about new hunters, and both are going to include some candid audio directly from the field, which is something we're trying out here. And we're going to start. First story will be with Mark's family, a deer hunting story from Pennsylvania. And then you'll head with Caitlin and I to Montana to chase pheasants. Hope you all enjoy.
Mom, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. He went down. Yes.
Girls got it done.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. I'm Mark, the youngest of the Ruhl brothers, part of the Outdoor Rules, and I'm joined today with a very special guest, her first time on the podcast, my daughter, Cora Lee, or CJ as we call her.
Hi.
And also, her mother, Rachel, my wife, is here as well.
Hello.
And we are here to talk about CJ's exciting first deer experience and share a little bit of the history of CJ getting into hunting, her desire from a young age to get out afield with us, with Rachel and I, and then how that transitioned into, at the ripe age of 8, her being able to harvest her first deer.
Which just so happened to be quite a nice buck.
Yes, she got an 8-pointer at 8 years old. So, CJ, do you remember, what was the first memory you have of ever going hunting?
Well, is it like deer hunting?
Yeah, deer hunting.
Well, probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
My first ever memory of it was when I got my first ever license.
That was exciting. I remember you being super excited to get that in the mail.
Your mentored youth license. So here in Pennsylvania, to be able to hunt, you have to be 12 to technically hunt on your own. But they did, quite a few years ago now, introduce a mentored youth program where CJ can get a hunting license as long as we are with her at all times, and actually have her own deer tags, buck and a doe tag. And so I believe she has to be 7 to have that. So she would have only gotten her license when she was 7. But the first time you ever went deer hunting with me, you would have been 5. And
I bet you remember that.
I do remember this. And
I don't.
And so corn had been cut in the field we were hunting. And so I took a ground blind out, and we took your tabby and blankets and snacks, of course.
Of course, snacks. Because
vest.
I have this vest that we stick snacks in, and we call it my snackle vest.
Your snackle vest, exactly. So, and we went out, and do you know how many deer we saw the first time we ever went?
No.
0 deer. And you know what you told me at the end of that as we were packing up to leave?
What?
You said to me, Dad, maybe if I would have been a bit more quiet, we would have seen some deer.
Because I had a lot of snacks that were crackly.
and you chit-chatted a lot.
Yeah.
So,
I was not good at hunting when I was
so
younger.
So that was the first time you went, but it didn't curb your enthusiasm for going out. So then in year 6, you hunted with me a couple different times, sitting in blind. But we got the crossbow, and at the age of 6, you started shooting and practicing with it. And you were quite good. You took to it quite quickly, shooting the crossbow accurately. I'm impressed, to say the least. So that led us to last season, your age 7 season. You were now had your mentored youth license, and now you could actually shoot the crossbow at a deer.
Which I was very, very excited when we opened our mail, and when I opened it, I thought it was going to be something like from one of my friends or something. But when I saw the label on it from who it came from, I was like, what could this be? And when I opened it, I got so excited because I had been wanting to hunt for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good day for sure. So
We went out a couple times.
we went out 3 or 4 total hunts, I believe, last year. And what was the only downside to hunting last year?
What?
What was the downside to your hunting experience last year? Every deer would get to exactly
Where
40,
further than she'd practiced.
30 yards.
30 yards or 40.
Yeah, it would get in between 40 and 30 yards, and then the deer would do something.
Like a Yui.
Exactly like a Yui.
And I only learned how to hit, like, shoot a deer at 30 yards, so...
And this year we changed that, right? We practicing up to 40.
This year we practiced 20, 30, and this year we also started 40.
So I remember leaving the tree stand last year at one point with CJ in tears because she really wanted to shoot a doe that had come in, and she was at like 35 or 37 yards and never fully came in. And, you know, we were trying to impress upon CJ ethical shots, you know, not shooting further than we've practiced, and, you know, making sure that we wait for a good, clean shot and not making a rushed shot just because we're so excited. And this doe, she just wouldn't fully come in. And CJ was so excited. She was ready to go. She had her 30-yard pin on this doe, and she just wouldn't commit. And she eventually turned and she walked away, and CJ was heartbroken. She was crying. She was a little angry at Mom for not letting her take the shot, but she did understand overall. So that was my big memory from the previous year.
And similarly, I think the next week of the season, we had a small buck come down the pipeline to us, and that deer got to like 35 yards. And we thought he was coming to a nice trail that was exactly at 30 yards and was going to turn into the woods and give us a nice shot. And for some reason, that deer just jumped through the thickest, ugliest section of brambles and briars that he could pick. And for some unknown reason, we don't know why.
They have a sixth sense.
He just made a decision, and wasn't the decision we needed him to make. But that's hunting, right?
Yep.
So that led us to this season, where we've been practicing out to 40 yards and shooting, and
practicing from tree stand,
and all the things that we could do to generate success.
And at one point in the season, like our third hunt, maybe? Was it our third hunt?
Well, we hunted once where we didn't see any.
I think it was our third.
Our third hunt, okay.
On our third, we were sitting there for about, an hour?
Hour and a half, yeah.
And this big doe hops out. And she hops out over, like, a log, a fallen down tree. Like, the worst possible spot. And I get ready to shoot her. Well, kind of get ready. And...
Well, we struggled. She kind of jumped out, and she was immediately, the way she came out, she was facing us directly. And so she kind of had an idea we were in the tree stand there. She was not up for whatever was happening. She knew something was up. And I thought, oh no, here we go again. Another year of deer just making weird decisions and not giving us an opportunity.
And
because she turned around and got back out of there, didn't she?
Yep. And that night, when we were still sitting in the tree stand, we saw this, like, button buck, maybe?
Yeah.
Pretty small buck walk out.
Oh, no, that was a 4-pointer.
Okay, well, pretty small.
A pretty small 4-pointer, yep. Mm-hmm.
And he walked out at 40 yards?
He came down the pipeline. He worked his way down the pipeline. And he got to 35.
And I shot him at 40.
You used the 40-yard pin at 35, and unfortunately, we sent one through what they call no man's land. And though we had good blood, we followed that deer for 80 yards. The blood stopped. And then the very next morning, we got up and grid searched for him and went and walked the trails where we thought we went. And then I actually bumped him, and he got up and ran away and was perfectly fine. In fact, Uncle Matt saw him a few weeks ago in the field, and
You did?
yep, and that deer is alive and well. But it taught us some lessons. That was actually my fault because I told her to use a 40 pin, and I misjudged the range.
He guessed the range.
Well, I guessed the range with my rangefinder, but not to where I thought the deer was going to stop, not where he actually stopped.
You guesstimated.
I guesstimated, and I guesstimated wrong. But everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So you hunted then a morning shortly after that with Mommy. You sat in tree stand with Mommy. I don't think you guys saw any deer.
No, we were counting squirrels and ended up playing some Star Wars game in our heads, just making stuff up to keep entertained that morning. Yeah, we didn't see much.
And then another evening with myself in the same tree stand, and we didn't see any deer. But then what happened was, as the season got on, the corn got cut on the property, and so that opened up some more stands for us to hunt in. And so we were then able to use what we have, a soft-sided elevated platform with a soft-sided blind on it. So CJ and I hunted there one of the nights right after Halloween, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we saw a lot of deer that night, didn't we? We saw deer everywhere. And one of the things that was fun that we learned that week was you were struggling a little bit with getting bored in stand, right?
Yeah.
So what did we do that night? What did you started something?
Oh, I started writing blogs about if I would see deer on these certain nights, and I would do all the details like the date, how much corn was cut, how many leaves were gone,
wind direction and speed. You were journaling. You were taking in all the details.
Times you saw the deer, if we grunted or if we bleated, everything, right? So, and what we found was that really kept you more engaged in the hunt. And I'm really glad we found that out because we got some really cool blogs or hunting journals from you.
Yeah, parents, 10 out of 10 suggestion is to do that instead of, as tempting as it may be to hand them your phone to play a game on, which I have 100% been guilty of doing to kind of keep her still and quiet. Having her just kind of journal, things that she's noticing in the woods happening and, let her check the temperature and the wind speed and stuff like that and have her jot all that down. That was a game changer. She sat still. She was a lot more attentive and really noticed things happening around her.
And for future use, you know what time, where and when, why we saw deer, right? So that night, we put out a decoy.
Let's backtrack. We picked up the decoy that day.
This is the night we were hunting together yet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We put out the decoy, and about half an hour till dark, we had a buck and a doe push out. A buck push a doe out to about 80 yards, but I think where he was at, he never could see the decoy. And so we got some action. We saw a shooter buck for you, but just didn't happen, did it?
What kind of decoy did you put out that
night?
Buck decoy.
The buck decoy.
That's right.
And we named the decoys that we were using.
We do name the
What's
decoys.
What's the buck's decoy name?
Devin
the decoy. So we had Devin out, but he didn't quite work. So that was on a Saturday night. The following Monday night, Rachel, you decided you really want to take her out and you really want to get a decoy. So we actually ordered one from a local outdoor shop, and you drove a 45 minutes to pick it up.
Drove 45 minutes to pick up this doe decoy, who is named
Darla.
So we have Devin and Darla. So
I'll
let you take it away because you picked her up from school.
Yep. I picked CJ up from school at 3, and it's about a 30 to 35 minute drive from school to where we hunt. And so she was changing on the way little by little. And when we got there, we put Darla out and sprayed her with some tinks and got everything up into the box blind, which is kind of an ordeal in and of itself, just because it's a tight squeeze to get up in there. But once you're in there, what did we forget? We got everything up into the tree stand. We squeezed everything up into like the hole. And the
main thing that we forgot was probably the only thing that
we needed
the most. It was our raving crossbow.
Y'all, we forgot the crossbow. So Mom climbs back down, gets the crossbow, gets it up. We get it all loaded up and ready to go, and we settle in for the sit. And CJ starts journaling immediately.
You had an important job for that too, right? Every 15 minutes, what did you guys have to do? Bleat using a bleat can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I actually was the one to do all the bleating.
Well, you're much better at it than I am. So she would bleat twice every 15 minutes, and she would mark down when she would do that. And I want to say an hour from dark is when we saw the first deer. It was a pretty slow sit. There were definitely some snacks gone through, but luckily, where we were sitting, it wasn't as crucial.
What is the A+ premium
deer hunting snack?
Deer hunting snack. What is it? What are you gonna pick? What are you gonna pick?
I don't know about that, but
mine's clementine.
Yeah, Mom's is definitely.
Mine is the garlic and onion cheese crackers, sour cream and onion cheese crackers. They're the best.
CJ?
Usually it's gummies.
Welch's gummy snacks.
Yeah, because I can just suck on them for like an hour.
Yeah.
We had plenty of those because it was recently after Halloween.
We had 2 of those actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just sucking on them for like an hour straight.
Yeah.
So we're slowly seeing some deer here and there, but nothing is coming within 200 yards. A big group of doe came out at 200 to 250 yards, and just nothing was coming in. And I want to say 5 minutes before shooting light is up. At this point, CJ's pretty discouraged. And actually, she'd said to me, "All right, Mom, let's just pack up." Didn't you?
Because I asked Mom when she thinks we would be leaving, and I put it on my blog 5:20 because the light.
And that night, it was like 5:25 shooting light.
Yeah, and 5:20, yeah.
Can you tell this part?
Mm-hmm.
And 4 minutes with the rest of the shooting light, we see this deer come out.
First, you wanted to pack up at 5:20, and I said, "Well, CJ."
And then 4 minutes of shooting light left.
What'd I say to you? That's a good lesson. You never know what's going to come in at the very last light. You got to be patient, right?
Yes.
Okay, so.
And so 4 minutes within shooting light, this buck comes out. Well, we don't know if it's a buck or a doe, but when we
see a deer moving towards us in the field.
And I was like, "Mom, there's a deer coming. Is that a buck or a doe?" And she's like, "It looks like a buck."
It was walking like a buck. You know how you can tell when they're all puffed up. So I get the binos on it.
And it's,
What did you do?
What'd you do?
To get him in even closer.
Well, I bleated twice.
She hit the bleat can like a pro.
And he came like twice as fast walking up to Darla.
Yep, he picked up the pace.
He got into her wind, and we actually had to change windows.
He smelled the tinks, yes. Originally, CJ was facing out the front window of the box blind. And we had to do some pretty quick maneuvering. I wasn't sure how well that was going to go over because CJ is an independent kiddo. And she listened to everything I was whispering in her ear about how to stand up, move windows, slowly set the crossbow back down. And she was listening to the yardage that I was giving her. And he kind of came in. He was slightly quartered too, but it is like a minute and a half from shooting light. And he was at, I'd say, 20 to 23 yards. And I whispered in her ear, you can take the shot whenever you're ready.
And
took the safety off.
And I got him on the 20-yard pin. And I hit him.
I got. Did he go down? He's going down. Oh, CJ. Oh my gosh. Tell Dad.
I will.
Tell him to come out.
There he goes.
Please tell him to come out.
I'm shaking.
Tell him to come out.
Good work. He's going down.
Can you tell Poppy to come out?
I will. I'm so proud of you. Oh my goodness.
Mom, I can't believe it. He went down.
Yes. It's Girls got it done. Oh my gosh, CJ. I'm so proud of you. How do you feel?
I feel like I could cry.
Well, that's okay.
Like, I'm so happy I could cry.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Her candid reaction after she shoots this deer is just, you can't put a price on that type of thing. Especially, I mean, of all the deer and all the buck that I've shot, and I've shot some nice buck in some different states and things like that, and this is my favorite ever deer, and I wasn't even the one to take it because of the memories that I had with CJ. It was just a celebration, and immediately, call Dad, call Poppy, see if Keely can come out, see if Uncle Matt can come with her. So, and every single one of those people did indeed come out to give her moral support and celebrate with her.
Like most of our deer, it was a family affair.
Yep.
So who was shaking the most after the shot? CJ or Mom?
Were you even shaking at all?
I don't know. You'd probably have to listen to the video. I'm pretty sure one of us says I'm shaking, and you can probably hear us shaking.
Do you remember how much I was shaking after the deer you shot when I was with you? Was anybody shaking like that, or were you both shaking so much that
I think we were both shaking and celebrating and just...
Yeah, but Mom was probably shaking more because in the video I could hear her going.
Yeah, I was pumped. I was so proud of you.
So then, a little bit strange for us is it was a warmer week,
and warmer, aka. It was 80 degrees in November.
Yeah, very hot for November. So we decided to take that deer to the butcher, which normally we process our own. But CJ, what are the things you're most excited for that you're going to be getting back from your deer?
Probably my snack sticks.
Cheesy snack sticks?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You really wanted some breakfast sausage,
sausages?
Breakfast sausage, venison,
burgers. And
most of all, which it'll take a while, but still, my mount.
Yeah, so then this recently here we got to take it over to, do you know what that person's called?
Frederick?
Not his name. Do you know what his profession is?
Oh, no.
Taxidermist.
Oh.
So we got to take your buck to the taxidermist, and we're going to get him mounted for you for your first deer.
From Frederick.
From Fred. I don't actually think his name is Frederick, but I'm
calling him Frederick from now on.
From now on, he will be forever known as Frederick. So, it was always a question, and always a concern of mine, as much as we loved hunting. as to whether or not CJ would want to join us in those pursuits
and be as enthusiastic.
And also, you always wonder after the fact.
Hold, please.
Dog interruptions are going to happen in our podcasts. I know. And also, you wonder after the fact, after a shot, whether or not those emotions, if I think we all feel something. It's called hunter's remorse, and we all know we're taking a life, and that life is going to go to sustain us, and the memories and the positives outweigh the negatives to it. But we all do know that there is a bit of sadness that comes with it. I know I've always felt that. But
I've definitely shed some tears after shooting deer. But again, it's mixed emotions.
And you said
thankful.
Yeah, for sure. And you said, what did you say, CJ?
I asked CJ
in the video
how you felt.
Mom was like, "How do you feel?" And I said, "I feel like I could cry. I'm so happy."
And I said, "Well, that's okay."
And that's okay. And some of that is for sure. It's happiness. It's also there was some sadness, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was some sadness because I kind of felt bad for the deer because how he died.
Yeah.
Well,
that's understandable.
Down,
but as hunters, our goal is always to give the animal the quickest, most pain-free, ethical harvesting as we can. It's actually going to be better than what they're going to receive in nature, for sure. We know that. But you always wonder, I always wondered with CJ here if after the fact she may say, "You know what, I enjoyed it, I did it, but it's not for me." But the first thing she said to me after we got in the car was, do you remember?
No.
You probably remember better than she would.
"Now we need to get my doe." Now you have another tag to fill. Before I even fill the tag, you're ready to fill your second one, right?
Yeah, the whole experience just fueled the fire that she had for hunting. And since her buck, I've shot a buck, and a niece and nephew of ours also have, so her cousins, and she has been so enthusiastic about going out and being part of it, holding the legs while the deer are being gut. And actually, when the morning I shot my buck, she was livid that she couldn't take off school to track it. But something that we did do that I don't know if all parents would do, but we ended up pulling her out of school for a day, and it was excused as an educational day. We pulled her out of school to help butcher a deer. Mark had gone to work, and my mom, who really enjoys the whole butchering process, we skun and quartered and butchered my deer, and CJ was helpful through the whole process, which there will definitely be photos and videos attached to that, because CJ's just an awesome kid who really enjoys the things that we do, and we're so blessed for that.
And so that's the story of an 8-year-old's first 8-point, right? Do you have anything else you want to add to the story?
Did you name your buck? Like when he comes back and he's hanging in your room, Kaylee names all of Uncle Matt's deer, and now I'm sure she's named hers, but what do you think you're going to name your buck?
I don't know.
Frederick?
I would think it needs to start with a D.
Yeah.
I actually
Devin, Darla, and
so
Doug
the deer.
No.
All right. No. Well, it's a work in progress. We'll have to come back on that one.
We'll have to come back on that.
Send us some comments on some good buck names, please.
Yeah, if you have any good buck names, send it.
Well, again, that's the story. We're glad you joined us to listen to it, and look forward to sharing more of our family adventures with you guys. So that's all we got for now. Bye, everybody. Thought you guys wanted to say bye in funky voices.
Oh.
Goodbye, mate.
think it's good day, mate.
Good day, mate. Goodbye.
All right. Welcome to the second part of today's podcast. Outdoor Rules West has been on the road this week. We're in Victor, Idaho, visiting Caitlin's family for the Thanksgiving holiday. Been having a great time doing lots of outdoor stuff here, but a couple of us did manage to make a detour and head to central Montana, back to one of Caitlin and I's favorite hunting spots from our Montana days. And we spent a real brief time chasing roosters around. We're going to cut now real quick to a little piece of audio from directly from that hunt.
Go that way towards. I'm excited. Gonna be a rooster in here. Well, just go through whatever you can. Rooster! Ah, dang it!
All right, as you can tell, we did find a rooster or two, although that particular incident was not successful. So, Caitlin, about where were we this week?
Central Montana.
Oh, yeah, I already said that, didn't I?
Yeah.
We were in central Montana. Obviously, I'm here with Caitlin today. Say hi, Caitlin.
Hello.
But we're also here with Caitlin's brother, Timothy.
Good morning.
So, Timothy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, Michael, where to begin? Well, like Caitlin, I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in a little town outside the city called Whitefish Bay, and spent a lot of time growing up fishing and sort of in the outdoors generally. But I took a big detour in my young life to get into the world of music and classical music, and did all my education in that. I was a clarinetist. Just fell in love with the instrument and playing in orchestra and all of these things, and spent a few decades really just focused on that to the exclusion of just about anything else. And one day woke up and decided I didn't feel like playing so much anymore, and managed to get my foot in the door in the world of arts management, working for symphony orchestras. And that's what's ultimately led me out here to Victor, Idaho. I work for the Grand Teton Music Festival in Jackson, Wyoming. Victor's just a short hop, skip, and a jump over a icy mountain pass. Just short trip over a mountain pass to Jackson every day, and I'm just pretty lucky. I always wanted to live in the Mountain West. Since we were little kids, I think our parents took us skiing in Colorado, and I just had to have been 95 or 96 or something like that. And I have this very clear memory of, this is going to sound so pretentious, listening to Beethoven in the back of a car and then seeing the Rocky Mountains come into view. And I just had this like click, eureka moment, peak experience. Like, no, I like this landscape. I had never seen it before. So to be able to do what I do, which is really raise money for symphonic music in a place like this, where I'm raising my son who turns 3 this weekend, is just like the most incredible gift. And I think my love for the outdoors has been, my experiences in the outdoors have been a little bit different, parallel to the ones you all have had. I've spent a lot of time running in the mountains here and in other places. And it's just I didn't know Victor, Idaho existed until I moved out here.
Yeah, in the early part of your music career, you were definitely not in places like Victor, Idaho, right?
No, I mean, I went to school in LA. I went to school in New York. My wife and I did some post-grad stuff in Miami Beach, of all places. Most recently, we were in Kansas City. I mean, I had always anticipated living in New York, Chicago, LA, someplace like that. And I'd always thought of myself as a city kid until I moved to a town of 2,000. I have to say I much preferred this.
Yeah, you guys it surprised us a little bit. It surprised me a little bit when you guys moved to Victor, and I was really curious how you'd like it after all of your previous experiences. You guys seem like you've really settled in here.
Yeah, well, it turns out it's nice to live in a place where you don't have to lock a door ever.
Right.
And
it's a good barometer, I think.
Yeah, and it's just, there is real quiet. It's just not nonstop noise like it would be in New York. I go back for work with some regularity to big cities like New York or Houston. I was just in Houston. I'm going to South Florida here in a week or two. And I don't know, man, you can have it. I don't want to live there again. It is a really funny thing. And so I've also boxed myself in because in the space I work in, it's symphonic music. There aren't that many other places like this. I mean, so I have every intention of staying.
Yeah.
As long as anyone will have me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the Beethoven song was?
Oh, yeah. It was the second movement of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Yeah.
Right on. And the outdoor stuff that you've been into as an adult is really cool, but really far away, I think, from the kind of things that Caitlin and I do and that I do with my family. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I don't know. We had this experience this week in Montana where we just walked around outside forever. That's basically ultra marathoning. It's just walking for a long time in a beautiful place. No,
I think you adapt better to pheasant hunting than I would to ultra marathoning.
Maybe. I mean, I was living in Kansas City. Sherry and I were living in Kansas City, and I had always sort of, I loved running in high school. I ran cross country. It was not especially fast, but not especially slow. And I think I ran one half marathon in my 20s. And I finally, as a musician, I was freelancing a lot when I was playing. So it was hard to plan to do anything because I would get a call on and be like, oh, I need to drive to Kansas City for 2 weeks. Right. Or I'm going to go drive to Omaha for the weekend. So I never really had an opportunity to or enough time to really train for a marathon. And I decided I wanted to do that in Kansas City. And I mean, it's just a same old story. Fell in with the wrong crowd. Met a guy. He was actually also a former symphonic musician. His name's Dave Brimhall. It's at Montana Dave on Instagram, if anyone's interested. He is married to a woman I worked with at the Kansas City Symphony, and I went on one run with him, and then a few weeks later, he's like, hey, why don't we go on this trail run? I was like, all right. And so I went out with him. We did 7 or 8 miles on trails at Swope Park in Kansas City, Missouri. And he spent the whole time talking about some 50-mile race he had just been doing. And that was just sort of the start of it. I mean, I ran one road marathon, and there's just nothing super enjoyable about that activity for me anyway. It's just hard. You're putting it on the limit. It hurts the whole way. So I guess I picked a type of running that hurt for longer in a more general way. No, there's something for me about being on trail, and there's this improvisatory quality to trail running because you're always running around things and trying to avoid things, trying not to fall. And Kansas City has a great trail system and a great trail community. I mean, the other part of it is, look, I have a hard time sitting still. So trail running for me was great. And I've done some big races. I've done some extra pointless stuff, like a 24-hour race on a cross-country course in the middle of, where was that? It might have been in Columbia, Missouri. Done some stuff in the mountains, the Silver Hills 100 down in Fairplay, Colorado. And I don't know. I just keep coming back to it. There's a famous runner named Killian Jornet who talks about how he sees trail running as moving in the mountains anyway. It's like a form of creative expression. And I sort of like that idea. I like the poetry of that very much. But also, I mean, I think that's why I enjoyed pheasant hunting with you guys so much this week, because it's like an activity where I'm sitting still and there's a moment to overthink. Doesn't really work for me. And pheasant hunting is not that. I mean, it was moving. And then when you have an opportunity to take a shot at something, you really cannot overthink it at all. It's just go.
It's there.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's gone.
And then it's gone.
Yeah, I like that idea too. You know, I feel that way in the mountains, and I feel that way pheasant hunting, sort of the landscape pushing and pulling me.
Yeah.
You know, of making all these little decisions about where to go and how to work cover and kind of what the landscape's telling you about what to do, and trying to read that and getting it right sometimes, and getting it wrong quite a lot of the time too.
Sure.
But
I mean, there's a parallel here with I've talked to other people about this idea, but there's something that the outdoors, that big spaces like the one I live in here in Victor, or the one we were at, Central Montana, something that those places or environments offer that for me feels very similar to the like what felt so gratifying about being on stage or playing as part of a symphony orchestra. And it's really just this feeling of like awe or wonder, because you're in an environment where like you don't have all the answers and you don't understand exactly what's going on, maybe, right? Like to a reductionist, like tiny point of detail, but you know it's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. It just feels bigger than you, and there's something special about that feeling. It's like, this matters, but it's hard to put a finger on why it's so important to you. Yeah, so I love that.
And before this week, you have chased pheasants a little bit, but always on pheasant farms, right?
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I think I've picked up that shotgun once outside of your company or the company the company of my father.
I've been a bad influence on your sister too.
Oh, come on now. No, I mean, it's, I guess I just always assumed hunting was not for me because I'm not a huge fishing. I don't enjoy fishing that much either. But this is different. So yeah, I mean, we've gone a handful of times. I think at least once in Wisconsin together, and at least once in eastern Colorado together to shoot birds on like a game preserve or farm or whatever. And yeah, that was enjoyable. I like this better.
Yeah,
I like what we did better.
Yeah, I'm not knocking that by any means. I mean, I'll certainly do it if somebody invites me, but it is an entirely different experience than being out chasing entirely wild pheasants.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Caitlin, tell us a little bit about that place we were and maybe your memories of it.
Sure. We were hunting on private land in central Montana. And I think we came across that just by way of a connection at work for you. And struck up conversation with somebody Mike had gotten to know well over a summer, and turned out that his dad had some property that had some pheasants on it. So I guess I don't remember what the first year was when we went there.
Yeah, I don't either. You're right. It was the rancher's son I worked with for a summer, and he was kind enough to invite us to come up there. And that was back when we only had one dog, so it was more than 12 years ago, probably on the order of
maybe 14.
Right. So have been going there for a long time, and we'd go there a couple times every year. Obviously, it's private land, and so we're really fortunate to have that. But it's also not like we have exclusive access to it. There's he invites other people to hunt. So, and we've kind of always gone up they're later in the season like this. The Montana pheasant season opens like mid-October. And so by late November, those birds have been hunted a little bit, and they're smart. It's not sort of like randomly walking around in a grassy field and jumping a pheasant. It's a lot of planning and thinking and execution, trying to figure out where they're going to go, what they're going to do, trying to block escape routes. It's actually, for me, it's a little bit reminiscent of the kind of deer hunting we did in Pennsylvania, when we would intentionally move deer, what we call driving deer there, where you're really trying to have people in motion and sometimes people standing still and anticipate, where they're going to go. I mean, these pheasants sort of seem every bit as smart in some ways. They really find ways to run away. They'd much rather run away from you and never fly than just sit there and wait for you to walk up. So it's a really kind of challenging type of hunting, but it's also really rewarding to me when it works out, because it is kind of like every opportunity is really special. Every rooster that you get is it really kind of represents quite a lot of work and a well executed plan. And then, I think the other thing for me, we have our dogs with us this week. We talked about Atticus on a podcast, and that's the original dog. He was a pretty good pheasant dog after a little bit of practice, but we still have a lab, and actually a lab Chesapeake cross, and the lab is a yellow female. She's now 12. In her prime, when we were using her a lot there, she was really a pretty good pheasant dog, and it's really enjoyable to watch her out in the field again, because we don't get very many opportunities to do this. So that's really kind of been special for me. As far as the actual hunting itself this week goes, Timothy, you were successful.
Yeah. I think I told you guys in the car going back. For me, the experience exceeded all of my expectations, because I wasn't expecting to shoot anything. I wasn't expecting to hit anything. So to be able to, hit one hunt and to shoot that rooster in the morning on Tuesday, it felt really special.
Yeah, Timothy mentioned the Hun there. There are Hungarian partridges on the place too. There's also sharp-tailed grouse. We're going to call this portion of the podcast 1 for 4, because we went up there on we left at 4 a.m. on Monday. It's about a 6-hour drive from Victor to where we were going. So late morning we started hunting. Probably got 4 to 5 hours of hunting in that day. We took a break to have lunch with the rancher. And then came back in the morning, and there were snowstorm forecasts for Victor, so we hunted until about 11. So really, we probably only hunted about 8 hours total, and a little slow this year there. I always have a hard time when I read the predictions for bird numbers that they put out. It seems like for whatever reason on this particular place, it never kind of tracks. And I actually stopped paying any attention to it. The last time I was there was supposed to be a really bad year, and it was fantastic. And this time it was tough. We put up 4 roosters in those 8 hours, 4 that we legitimately should have gotten, one that Timothy did get. The one that you heard the audio from at the beginning of this piece, which was absolutely a perfect situation, and we all shot at that rooster. I had the best shot at him, and somehow I totally whiffed on that. And then kind of as we were regrouping from that, another bird flushed from the same general area that if we had been ready, we probably could have gotten that one. And then Timothy, what happened on the 4th one?
Well, I mean, it felt like we spent listen, I don't have that much experience with shotgun. I'm a total novice. So we spent what felt like, I don't know, 45 minutes driving through this like marshy cattail stuff from one end of this, I don't know, what do you call this field?
It's I guess I should have mentioned that it's a big ranch that we're on, but it doesn't have a ton of great pheasant habitat. And the place itself, it's not like in the best part of Montana for pheasants. It's in a decent spot, but it's not a fantastic spot. And so the birds are you generally find them only in the very best cover. And the two best areas on the whole place are long creek bottom, where there's like a mile or maybe a mile and a half of creek bottom with some cover in it. And then the place that Timothy's talking about, we just call the swamp. It's a giant cattail swamp. It's a little higher on one end, so there's a little bit more grass on one end and then a little bit more cattails on the other. But
it has one little shelter belt.
Right. And that is, it's probably like at least 100 acres, just like a solid patch of thick cover. So as Timothy said, we spent, I would say, at least an hour.
Yeah, like walking, like driving from one end of that thing to the other. And we got to that moment where, I'm sure Mike said it, but the bird's coming.
I mean, it's kind of like we'd pushed it all out and we hadn't gotten much up, and we're getting to the edge of the wheat field.
Yeah.
Which, if there's birds running in front of you, and the dogs were acting birdie. And
this rooster flushes. And I bring my gun up, and I get on it, and I go to pull the trigger, and nothing happens. As my 3-year-old would say, it doesn't work. And I was like, did I not put the safety? Did I forget to switch the safety off, or what did I do? And then I pulled the bolt back, and there was no shell in the chamber. So, which I'm going to blame on the. I'm going to blame on the firearm now that we figured out it's having an issue. Loading shells, but it was really probably me. I tried to put one in there.
I think that one might have been all you, buddy.
It was hilarious and beautiful and embarrassing.
Something everybody's done.
Yeah.
And, I there's something about those moments that make the whole thing even better somehow. I go and you want to get a couple of roosters for sure, but all in all, the experience of the whole thing, and I think the lessons that we learn from doing it, right, are kind of like, it's all on you. There's no, it's like you can't cheat the mountain kind of thing, right? You work that hard to get that opportunity, and then it's gone because, something silly. And it is totally silly, but, I think in the bigger picture, it just kind of reminds you how important it is to be careful, and it reminds you how good of stories it makes when you screw up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my reflecting on this trip, I think I told Caitlin this one day, where it's like, I couldn't have predicted that moment, like just being there, walking around with the two of you guys. Like, no way I could have, when I was a younger person. Like I said, I thought I would just be in a city somewhere. So to have that experience, like a little bit of wonder, just like, wow, I never thought I would be doing something like this. And this is great. Combined with I always struggled fishing when we were kids because I got very attached to the outcome of actually catching a fish. And so to go do something like this where I wasn't, because I had no expectation that I would be able to hit anything, just made it really enjoyable. And I'm going to try to approach all the other outdoor stuff that way, I think, from now on. Because, it was embarrassing to have that moment, but, whatever.
Right.
There will be other pheasants.
I don't know that I'd be too embarrassed about it, because I can guarantee you we've we've all done it. It's totally something that's probably happened to me on that place before.
Now the problem is that the second we were back in the car, I'm like, one, looking at other shotguns, problem. Two, looking at, I find where the German short-haired pointer rescues are around me, looking where the gun club is in Idaho Falls nearby where I could potentially shoot a little bit more. Because I find shotguns very enjoyable. I've had minor experience with other firearms, but there's something about that. You can't think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This, I think I told you, my dad's dad was a really competent wing shooter, and pheasants was really what he loved. And it's always pained me a little bit. And I get a little bit nostalgic about pheasant hunting because where I grew up in Southeast Pennsylvania, we had pheasants there through the 70s. And by the time I was born in 80, they were almost gone. And by the time I started hunting, wild pheasants were completely gone. And so that was an experience. Doing the thing that he really loved was an experience that I missed out on. But I think maybe he was a little bit like you in that he wasn't a great deer hunter, and not that you couldn't be, I'm not saying that, but he didn't like to sit still, and small game, particularly pheasants, were really his thing. And, I know it's a totally different setting hunting in Montana or hunting in the West to what he grew up with, but it really does. These experiences really do kind of make me feel closer to him somehow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I don't know, what a great thing to do on Thanksgiving week. I'm thankful for your willingness to go with us. I think it's a great thing. Outdoor Rules, totally about this kind of genuine experience with family.
Yeah.
And particularly it fits in nicely this week with with the idea of new hunters. The first half of this episode's about, our niece CJ and her first deer. This was the first time that you held a hunting license, because you don't need them on those pheasant farms. So this is your first hunting license, but I hope and I suspect that it won't be your last.
No, I don't think it. Well, I'm happy to go if I can. Anytime. And if anybody who's listening has this opportunity, any of the 4 people who are listening to this have this opportunity, who haven't already hunted with Mike and Caitlin, I highly recommend it. I think one, Mike, you're you're both very patient, but I don't know, you have a very gentle way, Mike, of encouraging people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, any other thoughts about this? It was great. It was the perfect thing to do on Thanksgiving week. I also have to mention, again, Caitlin and I, it seems like we mention in almost every time we tell stories that I'm thankful to her parents. They watched the boys, all 3 of our collective boys, while we were gone to do this. Aunt Sherry helped obviously with that as well, but I'm thankful to them for their help as always.
Yep.
Yeah, I would just say it was particularly special to me, kind of like what Tim said. I couldn't have imagined that moment, and with families and living far apart, we really haven't done anything together in a long time. So anyways, it was a special couple days to get away with my brother Tim and Mike here and be outside moving.
Yep. Yeah, beautiful week.
All right. Well, thanks you both. And thanks everybody that's listening. As always, we'll get pictures up from this hunt and from CJ's hunt on outdoorrules.com on the podcast page there. You can always follow us on @OutdoorRules on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's it.
That's it.
I really botched that right at the end, didn't I? All right. Thanks, everybody.